had this really great turbo tip.
Turbo.
And I left it at home. So I know. So I'm going to show it off next week. But I'm going to show some of the tips I've come across with the Kimberbell.
I wish people could see this right now. Eddie is eating cardboard.
Yes, he's been eating it for 3
The
weeks.
candy corn quilt, because they're sort of tips. Okay?
Okay.
And I said, Brent, you got to get some more of this tape in. I got to show off.
And as we were sitting here talking about it, I just ordered like 6 or 8 more rolls. So.
I want to show Eddie. We're doing top down.
Yeah.
This is my hutch. Notice I use crayons again. I use crayons again. Yeah. And look at my bolts.
Oh.
They don't fall off. Go to the other view, Eddie, so you can see the shaking it crazy like. Look at that. It's not falling off. She shake it. Shake it like a Polaroid picture.
I'm going to show you how I made the bolts.
Nice.
It's so easy and it's so.
That was very exciting.
It stays on so good. And I used it again. Yeah, I'm going to show you how, because I got 2 more to make for this. How cute is this, people?
Very cute.
The same tip for this, too.
Now, just to be clear, all those embellishments and all the leather and stuff, is that all in the kit?
It is in the kit.
So if you buy the kit, you have all those
It
extras.
is. It's all the buttons, all the little things to make the bolts. And they tell you don't embellish till you get to the end. I get too bored if I have to wait to the end. And I hate doing all the embellishments at the end. So I say to myself, it's already quilted. All I am is going to trim it and then do 1/4-inch seams. So I'm only going to wait to the very end on embellishments that like overlap another block or might get in the way. Because I get bored too quickly. I want to see a finished block.
I concur.
So I always put on whatever
That is a
embellishments.
Brent-approved message right there.
They're cuter when they're done. So look at this, guys. In your kit, I'm going to go top down. Yep. In the kit, you get 8 of these little plastic things, and they have holes in them because they want you to, yes, get a needle and thread, and sew your fabric to these, and then sew these to your thing. Well, watch this, people. You will love me for this. So I'm making my little fabric bolt. Fold this in half. I take this Nancy Zimmerman double-sided tape by Clover. That's my new best friend. This stuff is amazing. My other double-sided tape doesn't hold as well as this does. Okay. I put my fabric on my little bolt. No stitching, no sewing.
And you're going to fold it over.
Yeah, and then I'll put one more piece on the last piece here to make sure it sticks.
And that's
Closed.
all. That's all you did for that fantastic little embellishment.
And then
But yet you like to sew.
Different.
I didn't get that off. Hang on.
I like the cheese thread.
But, you know, a lot of people talk about using hot glue. I'm not a fan of hot glue because I always burn myself, and I get those strings everywhere.
I hate the strings. They're always over
Okay,
everything.
there, I got it. So,
Yay!
and then I put another piece on the back,
And then you just stick it to
and
the...
I just stick it on my thingy poo. And that's the same way I put this sign on.
Now, are you going to stitch it down later, or are you just going to leave it stuck with it?
No, you saw this. This
I
ain't gonna
did.
fall
I was
off.
just... Okay.
Okay, and now,
If you throw it through the wash, though, it's not going to hold up.
who puts these through the wash?
I
Well, I'll
don't
take them
know.
off if I'm going to put it through the wash. They can come off.
What if you put Velcro on them, and then you can
no,
reposition them?
But they come. I can take it off if I really want to.
Fancy now.
No.
Look at that, though. Anyway, I also did it with a button. Now you'll notice there's thread in the button as well, because when I didn't have the thread in it, it looked naked.
Mm-hmm.
But sewing through all these layers is a pain in the butt-insky. I feel like my little fingers can't. I need pliers to do it. You want me to stay still?
Well, he was showing
that's
off the
really,
button.
Oh. So what I did is I put a couple things of thread through the button first, and then stuck it on. So it looks like I did what I should have done.
I mean, if you're going to put thread through the button anyway, why not
No,
just
it's
sew it
really
on?
hard to get, because it's hard to get through all these layers, and then you keep missing the hole. You're like poke, poke, hole, poke, poke, hole. It's so much easier just to do it
You
with
want
that.
to say it, don't you, Lynn?
So I said to Brent, you got to make sure you get this stuff in, because it's one of my favorite new
Yes,
tricks.
we have like
I mean,
6 or 9
it's made
rolls.
these things so cute. The other tip I wanted to give you is on this block. I followed the instructions. They have you do the placement stitch and the tack down on all of these little shells. It's one big piece of fabric. And then they say trim it. Okay, trim it. Look how close these are sewed together. What I recommend is sew the placement stitches on number 1, stop your machine, trim it. Trim it in between each shell because it was a nightmare to get my little scissors in there and do a good trim. It's a nightmare. So stop, trim, stitch, stop, trim, stitch, stop, trim. And you'll be
No,
good
you'll
to
have to
go.
manually stop it because it wants to do it all at once.
It does because
Okay.
they're all one color.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do. You have to say, no, I'm done, stop, so I can do my trim and then set up to go for the next one. Much easier, much faster.
Okay.
One more tip. See, I've been busy on this thing. This has to do with the little skirts we make. There's a couple of these in it. They are super cute. By the way, tape is used on this ribbon too to keep it just perfect. There's tape underneath here to each other. The Wonder Tape.
Yep.
Yes, keeps everything even on her waist. Keeps it right where it should be. Yes?
Chat B.
Should be. They tell you, anybody who loves the organza, I swear every time I have to use this stuff, there's a good side and a bad side to the organza. I swear, well, this one is, the purple is two-sided, but this one is definitely a good side and a bad side. They have you fold bad sides together, or wrong sides together. They have you stitch it, gather it up, then sew it face up like this, and then push it back down and sew it again, and then put your little ribbon on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a lot of work. And this stuff frays like heck.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would suggest is you sew it right sides together, stitch a 1/4 inch down here,
Yeah.
turn your tunnel out. Now you've got no raw edges. Oh.
And then do the
Then
rest
go
of it.
ahead and baste it, but then all I'm doing is sewing it one way, just like this, people. And I have no raw edges. Nope.
And you're going to
Nope.
cover it with the tape anyway. so it
Well, I
doesn't
know, but
matter.
I have a few ruffles that I wanted to
Yeah.
show because they look so nice and neat because there's no raw edges. See how
Right.
pretty those are? They're pretty.
Oh, those are nice.
So, do it inside out, flip it around,
Mm-hmm.
sew it, and just sew it on once. No flipping and flopping.
Cool.
Those are my tips so far. We're
All right.
we're cruising.